Today we are back on American Apple Brandy, a category I am really starting to keep an eye on, mainly because you're beginning to see prominent producers doing really good presentations. So higher strengths, single barrels, all that kind of stuff. Laird's definitely leading the way. I've talked about Laird's before, and we certainly have one on the desk. But others, I have got one from Clear Creek here, and I got one from St. George here. Some of the original, like, post-war generation craft distillers in the U.S. So it's also just a very accessible kind of category to, let's say, the American whiskey palate. So not to jump the gun on the reviews or anything, but if my suspicion is, if you bring basically any of these to like a bourbon meetup, if you do those on regular occasions, you will absolutely make some converts. People, once they try these and they realize they aren't just, that putting a fruit on the label does not automatically mean it's sugared up crap. Once they actually try it, they begin to appreciate the way these behave. So I've got 3 single barrel cask strength apple brandy offerings from different producers, and then a little aperitif. I've got a Hotaling, which is formerly the Anchor, the liquor arm of the Anchor Brewing Company before they were bought. This is a 21-year-old California apple brandy, bottled a few years ago, but it's still floating around because I guess it hasn't been super popular, and it is now heavily discounted at a couple of retailers. So I'm going to start with that before we move on to the heavier hitters. I do sometimes wonder if I should be pouring these more often, like before I get rolling on the camera, because it sometimes takes me a while. Put a comment down below. Would you prefer that? I don't know. Let's get these all poured, and away we go. I will give further details as we get to these bottles. All right, so first off, the Hotaling. They're not naming the producer, but there was a number of 21-year-old apple brandy bottlings that kind of came out at the same time, so I'm guessing they're all the same folks. So 7,111 bottles of this stuff. So, figure around 15 barrels or so. Bottled at, 44%? And like I said, available and heavily discounted. So if this is good, it's worth a grab. All right, on the nose. Wait, look at this color. This is 21 years old. So definitely not like super active oak, which I'm happy about, actually. We will get to the active oak. It's very soft. Dessert apple, like Fuji apple maybe. Peach, white pepper. Kind of like it's giving off like almost Speyside Scotch vibes, really, or even like lower part of the Northern Highlands, that kind of thing. Creme brulee. There's a tea note, but it's almost like apple tea. Light floral notes, soapy notes. You'll often get that in apple distillate. They will throw flowers at you, but nice. So like really boutique soap is what I'm getting. Like, so you went to like, is Bed Bath & Beyond still around? You went to Whole Foods and you spent way too much money on soap, and that's kind of what it smells like. Almond Joy. That combination of almonds and coconut? That's in here. Not super duper complex. Just, it smells nice. It smells lovely. It smells soft. On the palate. So again, it's kind of like 21 going on like 15, 16 maybe. It doesn't show the full weight of its age. It's very light, not in a bad way. That's just how it is. It's light, it's soft. This would actually be a killer session dram, honestly. Apple, yes and no. It's not so much apple as it is like Chardonnay or something, like a really good warm climate, maybe like a Napa Valley Chardonnay or something, without the obnoxious buttery notes. Um, Schaefer, Schaefer Chardonnay. That's kind of what this is doing. Cinnamon, vanilla bean, churros with vanilla ice cream. That's exactly what this tastes like. Slightly floral again, a little lavender maybe. That apple tea thing. And little hints of like I'm hesitating, but curry powder. I'm going to say curry powder. Not 100% on that one, but yeah, there's something like that. And orange peel. A little bit of orange peel. There's a little touch of ash, especially on the finish. Some oriental tobacco. Yeah, I am going to go on the limb here and say this is probably not going to win the flight, but it's just, especially with the Lairds coming up, it's nice. Like this is, if I'm, doing a session, and I want a session dram, I could plop this down in the middle of the table. Everyone would be happy with this. More importantly, if you're doing like flights like this flight, often it can be nice to just put something like this up front, which is good. It's not crazy. It's not outstanding, but it's got enough going on that it kind of gets your palate in order before you really start hammering with the heavy stuff. So yeah, it's promising start. I'm going to give this some water and we'll come back to it. Not too much, like 3, 4, 5, 6 drops. All right, moving on. This next up is an Aficionados pick. This is a Discord I'm a part of. I didn't participate in the picking process. Hey, Jay, if you're ever doing this again, give me a call. Anyways, this is from Clear Creek in Oregon, who I've talked about on many occasions. It is a 15-year-old apple brandy. Barrel number 409, 52.3% alcohol. So far as I know, just chatting with the people involved in this, distilled by Joe O'Sullivan, who's fantastic. I think it was actually Caitlin, the current head distiller, who put in the work of actually Caitlin Bartlemay, who actually put in the work of getting this thing bottled. But I think the story was this is just a barrel everyone kind of forgot about, which seems to happen at Clear Creek on a regular occasion. Like there was a beer schnapps from years ago, that same kind of story. And it just kind of became something you'd pour for visitors, or the staff would have with cigars. But now they've actually up and bottled it for the Aficionados folks. So I am pumped to try this. French oak, obviously, a Limousin oak, actually. Eau de vie still distilled. And let's see what we got. Completely different. Hilarious, I think, is the first word I would. This is cartoony. So on the one hand, you're getting like it. When I start naming off the flavor components on this, it's not going to sound that different from, say, a Calvados or something. But the way this is popping, the way the elements in there are popping, it's not just like kind of a continuum. It really is like apples, and it's cartoon apples, and oak, and it's cartoon oak in the best possible way. Yeah, stewed dessert apples all day long. Galas, Red Delicious, super duper ripe, and just a ton of French oak. They just piled it on, again, in the best way. Black pepper, English breakfast tea, prunes, figs, dried cherries, golden raisins. I mean, it's not, the difference isn't just that the elements are so like vivid. There's a cleanliness to this. It's I don't know how to explain, compared to like a Calva or something. It's very precise. It's very pinpoint in what it's trying to do. Cinnamon, cardamom, quite a few wildflowers, rosewater, and baklava, actually, like pistachio baklava. Let's go with that. Really just an entire dessert cart full of like delicious like Greek desserts. But mostly it's like glorious apple and oak. That's the main thing. On the palate. Honestly, my first impression is it presents like a really old agricole rum. Again, in the best possible way. There's a ton of oak, but it holds together, and it's just kind of, the smile on my face is partly because it's so good, but partly also just amazement that it is holding it together. Sorry, I think my computer's trying to go to sleep because the power cord isn't connected all the way. Again, tremendous amounts of oak with tons of apple. Red Delicious, all kind of stewed up together. Rose water. Touch of orange peel here too as well. So it has that in common with the Hotaling. Overstewed English breakfast tea. Prunes, figs, dates, all the dried fruit, apricots. And especially as you move from the mid-palate to the finish, huge amounts of ash, black pepper, Virginia tobacco, like full Virginia flake, the Gewürth, and like just intensely oak, like shredded furniture. Dry, just really, really, really drying. I can absolutely see why you would use this as a cigar dram. Yeah, it's hyperbolic. It's cartoony. It's very, very clean. I guess like cartoons are, and I love it. Like this is an absolute joy to drink. All right, let's give this some water. We'll come back to it. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to start with 3. Three and a half. Okay, moving on. This next one is a St. George from Alameda, California. Another really, really old school, post-war craft distiller. This is their California Reserve Apple Brandy, and Cask single barrel. This is a Binny's pick actually, and I should mention I have left my career at Binny's recently, and one of the upshots of that is I can now do reviews of Binny's picks without feeling like it's a conflict of interest, which is kind of nice. All right, this is I'm not even going to say the barrel number. Like it's literally, the print is so tiny, it's like trailing off. But it is a used bourbon slash cider barrel. So first it aged bourbon, and then you switched it to age some cider. I'm not really sure, but it is 7 years, 8 months, and 2 days old. And there you go, bottled at 56.2% alcohol. When I left the store last, I was the only one who had bought a bottle of this, which is kind of sad. But let's see if I was right or wrong to do so. I'm going to be laughing a lot during this episode because these are just fun. On the nose. I mean, I'm getting apple on all of these so far, but they're very different kinds of apple. This one smells like, you know, the sour apple lollipops? That's kind of what this smells like. And yeah, I totally love it. I think this is the youngest bottle here. And there is definitely a freshness to this, but I like this. Tons of pepper. There's some lemony notes, like lemon bars. Vanilla ice cream, I guess. And yeah, there is like a kind of a fermentary cider kind of thing going on. So this isn't like, you know, nice, clean Norman cider. This is more like, you know, super funky fermentary Basque Sagardoa or something. Big old fistfuls of wildflowers, that churros thing I was getting. Apple tea again. I'm getting some like pistachio again, but this time it's more like almost like Kheer, or this time it's like a South Asian dessert cart. And Apple Jacks, the cereal. That's totally in here. Fun nose. Let's see if the palate backs it up. Oh, intense. But again, in a different way than the Clear Creek is doing. The Clear Creek just kind of, you know, tore apart my entire mouth with oak tannins. This is much more concentrated towards the front end. It's showing its youth a little bit. Super, super peppery up front. Apple Jacks, sour apple lollipops again. The lemon bar thing, that's in play. Vanilla ice cream. So lots of notes from the nose. That kind of ice cream on churros note. And it's just so punchy up front. The mouth length is maybe a hair bit short. It's starting to creep back into the back of my mouth a little bit, but not nearly as much as the Clear Creek was. That being said, I expect this to improve the water. There's a lot of quality here. Brings that apple tea thing again. It's some tobacco notes again, but it's more like a Balkan blend here. It's a little bit more smoky. A couple of flowers thrown in for fun. I mean, it's young. It's fresh, but I don't think that's a flaw in this case. It's just. I mean, this is also excellent. So at least two bangers in a row. 3 if you count this as if you count a good session dram as a banger as well. Things are going well for American Apple Brandy. 3. We're gonna need 4 for this, at least 4. oranginess. All right, and last, Laird's. Laird's again. This is a Laird's Apple Brandy single cask collection. I've reviewed a ton of these because they're just always consistently good. This is another Aficionados pick. By the way, I have to thank Jay Take for getting me one of the bottles of this. It was getting this stuff from shared pours was a little bit of an adventure, but I'm glad to have it now. This is 96 months old, and to save you from doing the math, that is exactly 8 years old on the dot. 154 bottles. Barrel suggests this was distilled in 2015, and the strength is a whopping 65.8% alcohol by volume. Here we go. God, I love Laird's. I love the series. So, in my experience, these can tend towards either very, 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 very appley or very, very floral. This is one of the appley ones. Got it. So, black pepper, apple pie, the best apple pie ever, and vanilla. It's just a huge explosion of like apple and American oak, the glory of American oak. The very first Laird single cask review I did, I kind of made that comparison of feeling like there's a giant pile of apples in the middle of a storm, except the storm is made of American oak. And this is totally doing that. This is reminding me of why I fell in love with this series. Sawdust, cinnamon, pear. Hints of lavender ice cream. So if you're like me and you spend too much money on ice cream, you will know that note. Parsley, actually, a little bit of Earl Grey tea, Apple Jacks again. Like freshly ground coffee. Hard to nail down what kind. Like maybe like Brazilian coffee, a little bit nutty. And also just like some old used tea leaves. Like 2 days old, that kind of thing. Yeah, this is great. It's not subtle. It's very, very fun. And it's just so American. Like this is, you can't really put something like this in a line against, say, Calvados, for example. You know, the Clear Creek, maybe you can make that comparison. This is its own thing. Like this is, you know, treat this as more of an alternative to bourbon and rye than as an alternative to, you know, any other brandy out there. Like that's the character of this thing. Except it's cheaper these days for what you're getting on the palate. Ooh. Hugely oaky. Definitely, I mean, the Clear Creek and this actually have similar colors. Definitely rivaling the Clear Creek in terms of like sheer heft of oakiness. Dried cherry, sweet tea, black pepper, vanilla. Like just all the oaky flavors you could want. From, well, a bourbon or a rye. It's very, 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 very American. This is waving that flag, you know? But the apple is holding up the fight. Apple pie. Some light flowers. Even a little quince in there, like a little quince jelly. Man, this is good. Cinnamon. Really like red hots. Specifically red hots. Parsley, dill. Strong ass southern sweet tea. You know, absolutely. A little bit of like grungy mid-afternoon hotel coffee, but nice. And little hints of like a kind of a dried fall leaves thing. So far as I know, Laird's barrels mostly in ex-Heaven Hill barrels, and there's a little bit of Heaven Hill creeping in with that kind of dry, leafy thing. Yeah, just awesome. Like these three in particular. These are all really, really, really good. Unless they fall on their face after I add water. Yeah. For the prices on these are absolute buys. 3, 4, 5. 5.5 for the Lairds. All right, let's go through one more time. See how they have changed with the pressure that a few squirts of water can add. Back to the Hotaling 21. On the nose, actually gets more peachy. A little bit more peach skin kind of creeping through. Beyond that, it's not a ton of development. I mean, it's still a very, very soft spirit compared to like any of these next three. It just smells nice. There's a little bit of mustiness coming through now too, in a good way. On the palate, now it feels 21. The reason I say that isn't that more wood has come out, which can sometimes happen with water, but that kind of some tertiary notes have come out. It's almost a little bit like mentholy now. Really like nifty mouthfeel. Yeah, it's cool. Like musty menthol, if that makes sense. Kind of gives off old, I hate to make this comparison again, but like old Speyside vibes. Take a good old Speyside or throw it in a third, fourth use cask for something like this amount of time. That's kind of what this is doing. Certainly not a profound spirit by any means. And it's not going to win this flight. But for the aggressive discounting it is currently seeing, if you need something like this in your collection, just a terrific session dram, or something to give you that kind of old spirit vibes on a little bit of a better budget, this is totally worth a grab. And I would give this 84 points. 84 for the Hotaling 21. Moving on, back to the Clear Creek, 15-year-old. See what has happened, what water has done to this. Ooh. So the oak has come out even more, but it's like the fruitier side of the oak. There's like a fig butter thing happening. Yeah, you can absolutely see why this would be such a good like cigar pairing with a cigar. It's got the same kind of vibe you get in a great old cognac or Armagnac. It's but instead of grapes, it's apple, and it works really, really well on the palate. Terrific. So it's no longer as hyperbolic and cartoony. What it is now is just stunningly balanced. There's an elegance to this, which I absolutely appreciate. Hold on. Terrific development. Peppery, ashy apple cheese from heaven. Just excellent. No. So, in my notes down here, I had this at 89 plus. But I'm not going to Scrooge this. This deserves a 90. This is absolutely a 90 point spirit. And so that's how I'm going to grade it. 90 points for the Clear Creek Aficionados Apple Brandy 15-year-old. I will say, as a warning, if you are allergic to oak, maybe try this before you buy it. It's very, 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 very aggressively oaky, but the balance is really quite nice, especially with the addition of water. So yeah, 90 points. Moving on to the St. George. One more time on the nose. Yeah, wow, okay. It's the flowers that come out actually. It's and that kind of desserty character, that almost like so imagine if you just dumped a whole bunch of apples on top of that kind of South Asian dessert cart. That's kind of what I'm getting here. It's like apple floral ice cream or something with some nuts and stuff thrown in. Yeah, fun. But what I was worried about with this before was mainly the form, the kind of the mouth length. So let's see what the water helps with that. One second. Shoots and ladders. I mean, so yeah, the mouthfeel, the mouth length, the finish do absolutely improve with the addition of water, but it does also lose a little bit of complexity. Some of those little like secondary, second, third tier flavored notes just kind of get lost in the mix now. Huh. I'm not complaining. I would drink this either way. This is very, very well made. And it is an absolute injustice that people are ignoring this in favor of buying, I don't know, whatever the hell Ezra Brooks is sitting on the pick shelf right above it. Do better, Binny's customers. Yeah. I mean, I used the word elegant to describe the Clear Creek. This actually might be more appropriate for that word. There is absolutely an elegance to this, and I'm going to give it. I don't think it's as good, but it's very good. 88 points. 88 points for the St. George, and let us move on. Let's see what happens to Laird's. Second round, now with water. On the nose, it smells exactly the same. It still smells like a gigantic, 6-foot high pile of apples caught in an oak storm. And that's exactly how this should smell like. I don't care. I love this. Maybe a little bit of chocolate creeping in. Hard to tell. On the palate. Ripping. Just I like this is not something to relax with. This is just a ripping 600-mile-an-hour fastball straight over center plate, and it is made of oak, pepper, and apple. Hell yeah, very American. Very, very, very good. Yeah, 3 absolute bangers in a row. And I even like the Hotaling. I'm going to give this Laird's. Same score as the St. George, actually. I'm going to give this an 88. 88 points out of 100. Terrific showing for the American Apple Brandy crowd today on the the Different Spirits show. Yeah, I would totally recommend, depending on conditions, all of these. And yeah, go spread the good word. As much as I want American rum to win out and build a following and stuff, in the short to medium term, I actually think these things might have a better chance than the American rum producers. I really do. Like these, they're just so, once you try them, you immediately get it. You immediately get that connection to bourbon, rye, and all that stuff. So, excellent. Excellent showing. 84 points for the Hotaling, 90 flat for the Clear Creek, 88 for the St. George. Laird's also gets an 88. Thanks for watching and cheers.